Have you ever felt tension inside the workplace? Have you ever noticed that something was not quite aligned? Maybe it was personalities that weren't getting along or something had to be addressed, but you decided to avoid it? Well, I was talking to a client the other day about managing tensions inside the workplace. And he was actually had the courage to have this conversation, bringing a group of people together, facilitating a conversation to get to the heart of the matter. And he was saying how well it went. And my job as a coach is to reflect back that that's really amazing that he was able to do that. But I had to ask him, when did you first feel that there was a tension inside this team? And he thought for a second. He said, probably about 6 months ago. I said, well, why didn't you address it in the earlier part of that instead of waiting to now? He's like, well, I wanted to make sure that it was really attention. I wasn't jumping the gun on something. Totally makes sense. He wanted to talk to people individually. That makes sense too. He wanted them to work it out for themselves. That makes sense too. But 6 months is a long time for all those things to happen. My conversation to help you become a better leader was the questions I used were something like this. If you weren't having this conversation with this team, who was inside your organization? And he quickly answered, no one. And so it just kind of festered. And is it better to address something like this sooner versus later? He came back and said, sooner. You would say the same thing. And we talked about what does it really mean to be a leader of a company? And you have a lot of people, and there's going to be tension inside this, and you've got to manage that tension. Another way to look at it is you've got to look at the energy drainers and the energy gainers. And the drainers have to be addressed as soon as they can. And the energy gainers you want to amplify. And your job as a leader, when you're truly leading the people of your company and the teams and aligning resources and getting everyone to contribute in a different way, you want to make sure that you are noticing those moments of tension and as quickly as possible, get to the heart of it. Have the conversations. Maybe it's individual conversations that you need to have. And I know they're difficult, but there really is something that you don't want to avoid. And if you have to bring people together, you want to do it quicker and not let it fester. I bring all this to light for you because I think a lot of leaders want things just to work out for themselves. And it's good when they do. But you want to make sure that you're not just waiting around for that you're more proactive, and that your job is to manage the tensions and the energy drainers inside the organization. And you have to do that through effective communication and addressing things and not avoidance. It doesn't just get better by itself. All this to be said, if you have a tension inside your organization, there's a conversation that's missing between you and someone or you and a team. Are you willing to do that now? Are you willing to schedule that for this week, next week? Because letting it sit and avoiding it doesn't work. My job is to help you be the best leader you can be and to help you really rise up to the level of leadership that your team wants to follow to make impact and predictable growth and increase the value of your company. I create content like this. I do a lot of solo episodes, but I do a lot of interviews with founders and CEOs from the Inc. 5000. Hopefully you'll find this content valuable and you'll continue to listen in so that you can be the best leader you can be. If you would like to have a conversation with me, I'd love to just ask you this. Do you know what the exact skill is that you need to focus on to be a better leader? You probably don't, but you do know what the exact next step is to increase sales, or the next thing you have to do to increase funding, or whatever is the highest focus of your business. But shouldn't you understand what it takes for you to improve as a leader? When you catch yourself, maybe today's topic around avoidance, you realize, yep, I could be a little bit more intentional about these conversations. That's a blind spot that a lot of people just don't have. I want to help you figure out what those blind spots are. I love to be able to help you be the best leader you can be, create a team and culture that lives beyond you, and create increased value across your company. I create all this so that you can actually learn and want to reach out and help yourself become the leader that you know that you could be. So just go to genehammett.com and schedule your call. I'd love to talk to you about your next step as leadership. I promise not to sell you, and I do promise to serve you to the highest degree I can. When you think of growth and you think of leadership, think of Growth Think Tank. As always, lead with courage. We'll see you next time.